Hey everybody, I'm Trevor.
I'm Vincent.
We are the Anthony and Todd Show, and today we're going to be taking a look at the latest Charles Bradley record, Black Velvet. Charles Bradley was an American soul singer, rest in peace. He was signed to Deptone Records and brought with him a revival of the Otis Redding flavor of the 60s, a lot of his soulful sounds. Charles Bradley would often refer to himself as the screaming eagle of soul, which gives you a very vivid picture of
I don't know what else could give you a better picture of his music. Just very passionate, soulful, but also...
And he opens his mouth really wide.
Yeah, he opens his mouth really wide and you have to feed him worms.
In his later years, he was on an uphill trajectory, releasing a lot of great soul albums like Victims of Love and Changes. But unfortunately, he passed away in September 2017 due to stomach cancer, which really sucks, I think, for the music community because he seemed like he was just getting started with what he was doing.
Yeah,
something Vincent actually told me, the name of the album comes from Bradley's stage name during his time as a James Brown impersonator, and that's really where he spent like a lot of his career, was just doing impersonations and covers and that kind of thing. So making his own material and releasing like a lot of what he wanted to release, a lot of original stuff, it sounds like he was just getting started with that.
The third act of his career, his third act of his life actually seemed like the first act of his career.
Yeah.
It's a shame we're not going to get more of it because I think I would have liked to see him do more with this because he could have been such like a central force in like the revival of the sound, this revival of the soul sound. I think it would have been so cool to see where that gone. And it's a shame we'll never get to see that. But it seems like from what I've been reading, he had a good life, and when he did pass, he was surrounded by his family and surrounded by people in his band or bandmates he's been working with. So at least he went out, I guess, happy.
And I think he had a full life too, and probably really enjoyed what he was doing. But I think just for the music community, it really is a shame.
Yeah. Because
we lost what could potentially be a really great driving force, like a neo-classic soul singer, you know? More on the actual record of Black Velvet, it was very tastefully done, which makes a lot of sense from Daptone because they released the Sharon Jones posthumous album last year after Sharon Jones passed away.
A record I didn't personally care for, but I think it was very tastefully done.
I think it made sense. I've never been a Sharon Jones fan to begin with.
Yeah.
So even after she died, I think that the album was well done.
It seemed like Daptone's giving her the respect she deserved, which is very fitting.
Yeah. This album was compiled by producer Thomas Brenneck and backed by the Menahan Street Band, both of whom collaborated with him on his last 3 albums. And this album consists of songs originally recorded for Bradley's 3 previous studio albums, as well as covers of Stay Away by Nirvana, Slip Away by Rodriguez, and Heart of Gold by Neil Young, an instrumental track by the Menahan Street Band, basically to give tribute to Bradley, and then an electric remix of Victim of Love.
Electric remix?
Ooh. Guess who else did electric
Jaden
remix?
Smith. The electric Charles Bradley, the electric album featuring Jaden Smith.
Out in the street there was violence.
No. So one of the things I found most appealing about this whole entire album is going through their Bandcamp and reading how meticulously worded this statement about the album is, and it shows how much care is placed into this record. And I want to have Trevor read it because he's a better reader than me.
I can read.
Yeah.
All right, the quote says, "This is no anthology, greatest hits, or other shallow rehashing of the songs that already made him famous." Him meaning Charles Bradley. Rather, this album is a profound exploration through the less traveled corners of the soulful universe that Charles and his longtime producer, co-writer, and friend, Tommy TNT Brenneck, created in the studio together over their decade-long partnership.
So with this description, you get a sense of the fact that this means a lot to them to commemorate their dead friend, which is nice because their dead friend was a very talented musician whose career was ended very short, sadly, but he lived a full life. But it's glad to see people are putting care into this album. Mm-hmm. Almost like he was still alive in a sense, which is nice. That his like spirit almost remains on. and this force. Looking at this in a sense, it's a B-sides record, but it does not feel like that in any form. These don't feel like hits that Charles Bradley recorded and didn't release on the album because he didn't like them. These feel like full-fledged songs that could have honestly just been another record.
Yeah.
Going over the start with Can't Fight the Feeling and Love Jones, you just get a sense of just what made him so wonderful was his passion and his voice. And honestly, I feel A Change is a great moment as well. The covers on here, I think Slip Away is an interesting moment. The cover of Nirvana song Stay Away. So Stay Away is from Nirvana's album Nevermind, which is not particularly my favorite era of Nirvana. It's the era where I really do not care for them that much. I'm more of an In Utero guy. That's my Nirvana taste. That's what I enjoy. So I don't particularly like this song to begin with. But why this wasn't a soul song to begin with does not question me, because Charles Bradley just completely makes it his own version. Like, I find this to just be incredible that he's just able to take material from Nirvana and just adapt it into his own, like, version, to the point where you even question why this wasn't even a soul song to begin with. Yeah. Which I thought was brilliant. And then finally, I thought the cover of Heart of Gold with the instrumental shake-up of the horns instead of, like, the guitar, like, I thought was really cool. Doing this cover of this folk song I thought was very adventurous on this album, and it may not hold that up that well. It may not be as good as the original, I guess. It doesn't have anything on the original version, but I do think Charles Bradley, again, makes a song, takes an interesting cut from an artist, and makes it his own. And I think that's what the best of people... I think that's what the best artists do when they make covers, is make it their own. Moving on to the moment I Hope You Find the Good Life, this very long spoken word bit about this, like, almost kind of tragic relationship between these two people, and Charles Bradley kind of finally saying enough and just kind of letting this person go, even though they don't want to be let go. Kind of very heartbreaking in a sense. Just kind of like the last straw in a relationship where you finally hit the brakes and get the person out of the car because they're not healthy for you and you're not healthy for them. And it's a nice just moment on here. And then the Victim of Love electric version, the original version of Victim of Love is more acoustic. This feels like a more fuller fledged production version. I like this version better. I don't know why this wasn't the original version that was released. It's one of those tracks that we have last on a set where the band would get together and be really excited and go all out strumming and playing away, he screaming, whatever. It feels like a last encore song of sorts, and it's a very beautiful moment for him to go out on. It's the last part of his Swan song, and it's a shame it's a Swan song, but at least he went out on something really good. The last moment I want to talk about is the track Black Velvet, which I think is just their touching tribute to their friend, and it feels empty. It feels almost heartless in the sense because it's missing what the heart was, and that was Charles.
Yeah.
And I really love that aspect to it. It's kind of mournful. It's kind of nostalgic in a sense. It's missing that one key element on purpose because he was that one key element. It feels like one of those songs that we'd be playing in like a montage of someone's life as you would see it on screen as they're being like inducted into a Hall of Fame of sorts. And I really love that track. I think it's a beautiful moment that I don't know if it was created during his life, but I'm glad that it's on here. I don't know, it allows the audience to kind of mourn a bit, which is nice.
Yeah. It
allows them to like relieve a bit of the grief, and allows the people who are making this music to relieve their grief, which is cool. I think this is a well composed Swan song. This is very tasteful. It's very wholesomely done. It shows the best of Charles. And it isn't B-sides that were throwaways. It was B-sides from a man who was fantastic and had plenty of hits to go around. This was just stuff that he didn't put on his albums because he was limiting himself, which is amazing. These are Kendrick Lamar Untitled and Master level B-sides where they comprise a whole entire another album that's also amazing.
Yeah.
I really think this is great. I think Charles Bradley was a fantastic artist, and it's a shame he's not around anymore, and it's a shame we're not going to see that, and it's making me kind of teary-eyed because of it, but I don't know, I'm glad this was released, because I think it only gets more people to pay attention to the artist he was, and it's a good thing to close out. I don't want any more material released after this, though. This was a good end to the career of him and nothing else, I think.
I think only time will tell if we'll get any more releases, though.
Probably
but I
like
hope
like an anthology of some sort.
Yeah, I just hope that because of the people that put this together, they're gonna put a stop to it the way that probably a Sharon Jones B-sides kind of thing would have been released by now, but they put a stop to that as well.
Thomas Brenneck did a fantastic job with this. Menahan Street Band did fantastic on this as well. Charles is great. Good compilation. Yeah, I'm feeling a fantastic Swan song out of 10 out on this. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say. If you want us to talk more about music, we have the weekly podcast called The Anthony and Todd Show every week on Apple Music and Spotify. The best of the show in audio form. Links down below in the description if you want to check it out. If you want to talk with us about music, we have Discord, which you can chat with us about anything your heart desires. The link to that is down below. And if you want to watch another review of ours, I'm gonna put the review to Lonnie Hawley's last record, Myth, on screen. So if you want to check that out, that'll be on screen right now. But until next time, guys, I've been Vincent.
I'm Trevor.
And see you, boyos.
Bye, everybody.